buddies. Welcome to class 1 of Data Sci with Navi. So, today our topic would be Python basics for data science. These days, Python is preferred lot in the field of data science. Let us understand why. In previous days, we also used to use a language called as R language, which is a statistical language. Before that, let us understand what are the alternatives for data science that we could use. So, the first one would be Excel. And as I told you, R language, which is actually a statistical language, which was previously used a lot in the field of data science. And nowadays, Python is used, Python is preferred where a few companies still want to use the R language, they prefer R language, but most of all, we use Python. Let us understand what are the advantages and disadvantages that we have for each of them. So Excel is typically click and use. It is very simple. We have to click on the predefined functions and we can use those functions. For Excel, there are predefined functions for predicting values and for getting the outputs, for understanding the metrics, everything. There are advanced Excel functions. So disadvantage is Excel typically uses only this data format where it is in the tabular format .xls or .csv and every other tabular format of data where we have rows and columns. And Excel cannot process a large amount of data. It takes lots and lots of time. Like, let alone the large amount of data, even a data with hundreds of MBs or like only 30,000 or 50,000 rows can take a lot of time in Excel. It's like if you change one cell, you have Excel runs each and every cell, each and every formula once again. So that is a major disadvantage why we don't use Excel. There is another as a, what about R language? R language to be used, we need an advanced knowledge of statistics in it, and it has lots and lots of predefined functions, predefined libraries, and we can. This is an open source. This is an open source where we can make a contribution for the libraries functions or whatever, and the language is also pretty simple. For add, you just have to put add 3 comma 3 comma 5, so it just adds. It is a language where we give only few instructions. The major disadvantage, the first one would be the lots, and we use lots and lots of lines for code. So lines of code is more. And the second one would be you need advanced statistical knowledge. Sorry. You need advanced statistical knowledge for using R. Python, the major advantage why we use Python is a less number of lines. And second one, this is English like language, so understanding is pretty simple in case of Python, and it is independent of platform. We can run in many platforms. Pythons can run in many platforms, IDEs, even without platforms in the command prompt as well. So that is a major advantage, platform independent. And the next thing, Python, just like R and Excel, it has a lot of functions, predefined functions and libraries for, especially for data science, that can be widely used. What is the disadvantage? So the disadvantage, as any of it, would be that Python requires basic knowledge of computer language, understanding of Python and how it works, and remembering the knowledge, and lots of practice is required. That is the one thing. So before getting into all these, we have to ensure, before practicing, before having hands-on on Python, we have to ensure that you have Python installed in your laptop. For that, you can, what you can do is you can just go into the search option and in command prompt and search for Python and what version you have. If not, you can go into your browser and install Python. Whatever you're going to install from the browser, make sure you're installing from the official websites. So going into browser, just search for Python, Python, install Python, and then go into the official website www.python.org. Install the new version or version that is required for your particular project. If you're using Mac, install a Mac version. If you're using Windows, install a Windows version, and follow all, tick on all the default values and do the installation. So what are the other places that you can use? What are the IDEs? As we know, Python is a platform independent language. We can do Python coding in multiple platforms. Python supports two types of file formats. One is .py. This is a Python file, and other one .ipynb. This is a Python notebook. So one is .py, which is a Python file .ipynb. This is a Python notebook. So what is difference between Python and Python notebook? Wherein Python we can write lines of code continuous to one another and run all of it together to get one output or multiple outputs together, whatever the print statement, whatever it is. So IPNB has these cells in it, particular cells in it. The cells can be run one by one after one, or even in the middle, one after the other. So, as this name suggests, Python notebook, it's like a notebook format where you have headings, where you have subheadings, and this particular cell, if you have a code in this particular cell, the output would be printed below the cell. Like this, we have multiple cells in it with codes, outputs, and everything. It typically looks like a notebook. So, there are multiple places where we can see this IPNB. One is usually that we use, that is VSE, Visual Studio Code. VSE is an offline platform, offline IDE, where you have to create a file with the name .ipynb. And the other is Anaconda GUI. I'll just put it as Anaconda GUI. And in this we have Jupyter Notebook. So Jupyter Notebook is also in the format of .ipynb, where you have to Jupyter in the Anaconda GUI. You have Jupyter Notebook as well as Jupyter Lab. So you even have R Studio in Anaconda GUI. You have multiple. What do we say? You have multiple development environments in the Anaconda. Other than this, we have an online platform powered by Google, which is Google Colab. So we have Google Colab. This is an online platform. There are multiple advantages and disadvantages in it. This is the same file format where we will have .ipynb. So in Google Colab, you have to save it in a drive, or else we'd be losing the less recently used files or edited files. So make sure to download it or to save it. This VSE and Google Colab typically have autocomplete option where you start the typing of the code. They will give you suggestions. Jupyter does not. So I suggest you to use a Jupyter Lab in the initial days to have a good practice, to have a good build of knowledge. As I told you, I would be preferring a Jupyter Lab or a Jupyter Notebook. You can do both in Anaconda. So let us see how do we download Anaconda from the starting. So you, as I already told you, if you are going to download anything from the browser, make sure to download it from the official website. So if you search for Anaconda download, there will be this first option, which is www.anaconda.com. This is the official website. Click on download. You will be directed to this page. Click on free download, as we are downloading a free version. This is Anaconda distribution. This is a part of Anaconda distribution where we have multiple other IDEs in it. So this is a process where you will be clicking on mail ID, select a mail ID, whatever the preferred mail ID, select it, and you will get a link to it. Click on download and follow all the default procedures to install Anaconda. Downloading the Anaconda distribution, you can search in the search bar as Anaconda, and then here you will see two of them. One is the Anaconda Navigator and the other is Anaconda PowerShell prompt. Like the command prompts where we can give command for the Anaconda Navigator to access any of the IDEs or do any installation or delete, update, any other stuff. So first let us see about Anaconda Navigator. I'll just click on Anaconda Navigator. If you click on Anaconda Navigator, it opens something like this. This is the home section of Anaconda Navigator. You see there are multiple IDs over here. Uh, we'd be mostly using for Python Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook or Spider, as well as VS Code. As you can see, if you scroll down, you can see also R Studio. For our language also we can use R Studio. Now we'd be either focusing on Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook. Both would be same, both would be similar. So before that, I'd like you to know about environments. So uh, typically for any of the system, when we download Anaconda Navigator or any of the IDE, then we have the base or root environment. This base or root environment has all the necessary libraries, has all the necessary packages need for us to run the code. So few projects might need different versions or different parts of the libraries. We do not want to disturb the base or root environment. So what we do in that case or in that scenario is we create another environment for our program to run or for our project to run. So how do we create our environment is either by clicking on this plus. If you see in the environments tab at the bottom right corner, you see a plus or create button. So if you click on this button, we'd see this window pops up so that you can give the name of the environment, and then whatever, which language do we prefer or which version of Python that we want. If you don't want to specify, you can just give the name and click on Python. So the latest version, whichever is installed in your laptop, would be assigned to that particular environment. So after, I'll just show you, I have created one environment called as temp. So this temp is just created. It has the basic, very few libraries or necessary packages. That's all. Whereas base or root environment has all the packages, has many other like Conda installers and other stuff, whatever that is necessary for a base package to run or a basic code to run. So here you see in the temp environment only these four are there, wherein runtime we need to run associated with it, something like this. But if you see the base or the root environment, you can see there would be a lot of libraries, there would be a lot of packages, there would be a lot of updated versions of stuff and all. Packages or necessary libraries that support our program to run in the base or root environment. Okay, so either we can create using this plus symbol here, or we can go into Anaconda prompt as well. Let me show you how do we do that. I'd be clicking on search bar and then searching for Anaconda PowerShell prompt. If you click it, it opens just like the command prompt if you have idea. But as you see here, here we have activated the base environment. Create or decrease the version of any of the libraries that is going to influence the base environment. So we, if you do not want to change anything from the base environment, I would suggest you to go to the create a different environment for the particular projects which needs different version at different times. So here you see this is a Conda environment. So we are going to do everything about, this is a Conda environment. So we are going to do everything about Conda. I'll tell you few of the things that you could do here. Conda info, you can type conda info for getting whatever the information is there. I actually uninstalled and installed Anaconda, so I can show you how this is done. So these are all the this is all the information, conda versions and everything that is given. The environment that is active is base environment. That's also given here. So next I want to also do update Conda to see if my Anaconda distribution or Anaconda navigator is updated. Conda update Conda. So actually I have, as I already told you, I have installed again Anaconda, so it would be updated. But we'll just check for the see here all require requested packages already installed, as it is the new version of Anaconda, so everything is already there. We've just rechecked it. So now how do you create an environment other than Anaconda navigator? Here you're going to type as conda create hyphen hyphen name, and whatever name that you want to give the uh, Anaconda environment. So first I'll just show you how do you see the Conda list. So Conda env list. We'll see what are the environments that we have. So these are the two environments. I have one is a base environment and other is temp environment. So let me show you how to create it. Conda create hyphen hyphen name, and then name. Let me do test data s. Okay, it takes time after collecting the packages, meta packages, the 4 packages that we had, and then it will show us the proceeding. Yes, we have to proceed. So why? Yes, it will be taken and then enter. So after doing that, you see everything is done here. How to activate an environment? They are giving us already the instruction. You have to do conda activate whatever is the name of the environment. If you want to deactivate, you do conda deactivate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again check if my data sci environment is activated or is it is there in the environment or not. So I'm going to check the list again. Conda env list again. Okay. So see, we have the base, we have data sci, and then temp. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to activate data sci. So how am I going to activate? Here is the instruction. You can just copy paste or you can just type it. Conda activate data sci. So here you see we were in the base environment. Now we have activated data SCI. So if you see in the data SCI also, what would be there is only the necessary libraries. If I want a new library, if I want pandas, numpy or any of the libraries that are necessary, so I should install it here. So I'll put it as conda install. Let us install pandas. Okay. Let us install pandas. Conda install pandas. Okay. Then here we are going to install pandas into the environment called as dataset. Okay. So I'm going to proceed with Y and click on enter. You could do is if you want to install all the necessary libraries as we have in the base environment, we can actually get that necessary packages into a file called as requirement.txt, and then we could change the environment to the current environment whatever that you are working on, and then install all the packages that you have in the requirement.txt. Okay, so this is how it works. And see, as we see, we have this in the data side we have an new library called as pandas. Let us see if it is there in this data. As you see, temp also was a new install, but temp did not have any libraries because I did not put any. But datasci has other library, one more library added, that was pandas, right? So see here, pandas has all these numpy extensions and all these extensions. All right. So if you want to deactivate, same we are going to do. Conda deactivate whatever the name. Okay. Conda deactivate name data site. That's how you would again go to the base environment. So why are we learning about this? It is very important for any of the data science scientist or any of the programmer to know about environments that we are dealing in. So we do not ruin or we do not make any errors with the default or the base environment. So here, let us go into we are in the environment. We'll go into the base or a root environment because I'm not going to install any new update or I'm not going to make any update for my present packages or not decreasing the version or selecting particular versions for my project. So I'm just going into the base or the root environment and then clicking on home. So you have to make sure that we have applications on the base or root environment. In the base environment, as we said, we are going to do IPYNB, that is a Python notebook. For that, you can either choose Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook. VS, VS Code is also fine, but make sure to choose either one of Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook because we are in the initial stages. We have to practice a lot. So I have already Jupyter Lab installed. If you do not have installed, click on install and then click on launch. I'm going to click on launch, then my Jupyter Lab would be open. So there is another way of opening Jupyter Lab as well. One is from the Anaconda Navigator, other is from the Anaconda PowerShell. So here in the Anaconda PowerShell prompt, you see we are in the base environment. Ensure that we are in the environment that we want. And then in the user, we are going to click on Start Jupyter Lab or just Jupyter Lab. If you do that and click on enter, we are going to open Jupyter Lab from the PowerShell without disturbing the Anaconda Navigator. So I'll tell you advantages of both. If you go into the Anaconda Navigator, opening of Anaconda Navigator takes a lot of time. So creating this from the Anaconda prompt, opening this from the Anaconda prompt would be helpful for us. Lab, you can access files by this here, clicking on files, and then you can go to the base and wherever you want to create a file. Just for example, if I want to create it on desktop, click on desktop, double click on desktop, right click, and then you can you can create a file or even a new folder and name a folder. So you can even create a new notebook. So what I'm going to do, I'd be in the on the desktop. So let me create a temp. Okay, I'd be creating a temp folder, temp or like temp1, temp folder 1. So I'd be creating a temp folder 1, and inside this temp folder I'm going to create a new notebook. Okay, so let me right click here. I'm right clicking and then clicking on new notebook because I need a notebook. The notebook will always be in the format IPYNB, Python notebook. Okay, so this is Python 3 and this is the kernel that we are selecting. Okay, and then click on select. So that's how we are creating a new notebook. You can even rename it. Right click on the untitled IPNB here, or even you can do it here and then rename. So make sure you have .ipynb. If not, the Python notebook will not be created. So I'll create it as again start. So this is a start.ipynb. So now I'm in the Jupyter Lab. So in this Jupyter lab, you can access files by this here, clicking on files, and then you can go to the base, and wherever you want to create a file. Just for example, if I want to create it on desktop, click on desktop, double click on desktop, right click, and then you can you can create a file or even a new folder and name a folder. So you can even create a new notebook. So what I'm going to do, I'd be in the on the desktop. So let me create a temp. Okay, I'd be creating a temp folder, temp, or like temp1, temp folder 1. So I'd be creating a temp folder 1, and inside this temp folder, I'm going to create a new notebook. Okay. So let me right click. Here I'm right clicking and then clicking on new notebook because I need a notebook. The notebook will always be in the format IPYNB, Python notebook. Okay. So this is Python 3, and this is the kernel that we are selecting. Okay. And then click on select. So that's how we are creating a new notebook. You can even rename it. Right click on the untitled IPNB here, or even you can do it here and then rename. So make sure you have .ipynb. If not, the Python notebook will not be created. So I'll create it as again. So yes, so this is a start.ipynb. Here in the start.ipynb, you see this column, this particular is called as a cell. Okay, so this is a cell. If you want to create a new one, you're gonna click on this plus symbol. So you can create a new cell. Okay, so if you want to change this, if you want to write code inside this cell, you are going to let this be, which is code. If you want to change that, and you want to write a heading for it, you're going to change this code to markdown. So if you make it as markdown, here you can write a text, give the heading that is not meant to be a code. So you can even again change into code or raw, which is going to be whatever it is, it doesn't run there, something like this. Okay, so how are you going to access it? You are going to access it by this. If you want to save, you can click on the save option. If you want to delete a cell, you are going to click on this cut scissor symbol, or here a delete option, whatever possible. So let us just run around or play around this Jupyter lab to understand the Jupyter lab more. Okay, so if you click on here, I'm just going to do a basic statement which we usually do, that is print statement. Print brackets, and then you can write anything like hello world, or I'm going to write hello buddies. So that is going to be a statement. You can do addition, subtraction directly on the numbers, or multiplication directly on the numbers. But if you want to run the cell, you have to either click on this run option, or you can just click on shift plus enter. Okay, so if I click on shift plus enter, it's going to run the particular cell. Okay, that's how it works. So now in Jupyter Lab, there is an other thing, a special thing called as contextual help. If you have any question, if you have any questions about anything, or if you want a help of Python to give what a particular function works for, or something like that, then you can use contextual help. For that, what you can do is you can just launch a new one, and you can scroll down and click on this contextual help, so that you'd be getting a contextual help. For example, if I'm going to click on this print, it is going to give me the document of print statement, how it works, and what are the arguments or what are the parameters it takes, what will be the output of this print statement, something like this. Okay, that's how it works. So I hope everyone knows about variables. Variables are basically the placeholders which stores the value. So variables or anything in case of Python is case sensitive, whereas lowercase words and the uppercase words mean different things. For example, if I'm going to give ABC, this is a variable. I'm going to assign this value as 1. Okay, and then I'm going to create capital ABC. Okay, capital A, small b, small c, and this is going to be 6. So both values are different. If I'm going to print a small abc, I'm going to get value of 1, because this is a different one and this is a different one. Though we have abc, here it is case sensitive ones. Capital letters mean a different thing, small letters mean a different things. They are like totally different characters. Okay, so these are the things, these are the basic things you want to play around with. Context will help, or whatever that you
On subscription, that is subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon to be notified, to remind you to learn data sci with Navi. Welcome to my channel and bye bye.